Hi everyone, Jared here. Time for the market video update. Hope you guys have had a great day. We've seen some crazy price action in the market. As always, that we see with Fed announcements. We had the FOMC statement today, and we could see that it was kind of crazy. It was up and down. First of all, the Dow ended up taking a pretty big dive because the FOMC statement included a lot of remarks about inflation and so on, and that was kind of bad for the market, and the dollar started to rally pretty good. And then just a little bit after the statement, a couple hours later, they always have to sneak stuff in there. And then we saw the banks or the Fed's stress test, and 4 banks failed, but several other banks did a pretty good job and passed kind of with flying colors, and so that caused another big rally in the market. The dollar held mostly strong, but we saw a big rally in S&P Dow, 25 points on the S&P closing, 218 on the Dow, but gold tanked, and the dollar continued to hold on to most of its strength, and oil kind of stayed put. We're going to look at that on the charts. So we've seen those announcements, that news, so on today. And then we also see coming into Wednesday, we have unemployment numbers for the UK, and we have Bernanke speaking once again. So if that's not enough for us, we can see that he's going to be speaking about banking system and so on. And so that could be a little bit of just a little bit of an interesting thing to keep an eye on. Dollar index is finally above 80. We've talked about this about 800 times. It's been bouncing around for an entire month, just below 79 and just above 79. But we actually see 80 here, and this might actually be able to hold on. As you remember, we've talked about this kind of trend line that you can see right here where the market's kind of testing and then up and then testing and then up. And so hopefully we've now got more of a break of a trend line right here, which I think we do, and that should allow this dollar to continue higher. So we're going to keep an eye on that. Here's a couple of things to look at. This is the euro dollar. The euro dollar has been all over the place today. It made a big retracement before the news. After the news, it made a big run down, and it's kind of double bottomed, and it's back up again. So what this euro is going to be up to, we ended up getting into a sell. We locked in some profit. It took us out on the retracement here. Looking pretty good, but if we look at the kind of shorter term movements, you can see that there's just a little bit of this trend line is still trying to get a little bit of momentum, and if we can get a break here, this would be kind of a good little area, I think, to start looking for entries, just kind of below this 130.75, 130.70 area. But actually, one thing that I really like is you can see these arrows right up here. This has turned out to be a very supported kind of high, this 131.25 area. So I like buys between 131.05 and 131.25. I think, or excuse me, sells. I like sells up in this general area. That's why I have the sell area right here. And that's just kind of between these two little short-term fibs, between the 38 and the 50. And that's just on this short-term run right here. But I think if we get back up to this area, about 131.25, I'm going to be looking for just a little quick sell opportunity with stops. You know, like I said, if I get in right around the 20-25 area, I think we can do pretty good with some pretty tight stops, maybe above this 61.8, so 20 to 25 pips. But anywhere between about 131.05 and 131.25, kind of that 20 pip range there, I think is going to be a good sell entry. If we don't get that kind of retracement, look for this little breakout right here, and we'll see if we can get really kind of a blast back into these lows. The fact that it came up here and kind of triple topped there, and then it's come back down. If we continue this kind of lower high thing, then this breakout could take us back into those lows. So watch that level. Look for those breakouts. Look for that movement. We'll see if we can get some good activity there. Pound dollar went crazy this morning. Before the FOMC news, we were kind of just waiting and being cautious and careful about everything, and the pound just ran all the way up to this 38% fib on the bigger run here. So this big run down, it just decided that today was the day that it was going to just cruise right on up to that 38, and it did in a very quick hurry, as we can see, and it ran up. It was just nicely down. It ran up about 125 pips over about a 3-hour period. But then it kind of hit that 20 or that 38, and it's kind of slowed down a little bit. So we'll see if the pound is ready to turn or if it's not. I like selling the pound around 156.75. You can see that it's about 157.05, so it's about 30 pips away, but I think this is a good area to sell the pound. I'm looking at just kind of the shorter term time frames here. We've got two things to look at. If we get below this low here, and that's about 156.75, like I said, I'll be looking for a longer term sell, at least 50 pips and more like, 100 and 150 pips. I think this is going to be the start of a nice run if we break that trend line and if we get below 156.75. 156.75. If not, then we're going to watch this uptrend here, and we're going to see if we can get some breaks on this upside as well. I'm a little less in love with some of this upside break because I think it's kind of tricky, but somewhere above around this 157, 15, 20 area, I think will be probably a decent run to get us back into those highs. But I'm really looking more at the pound dollar for a sell on the breakout down and looking for kind of that dollar strength to carry on and hold on to that. But watch those two levels, and we'll probably have a pending order to sell 156.75 with some various parameters put in. So keep an eye on that. Yen pairs kind of just hopping around. The euro yen it's consolidating above this trend line, so there may be it's consolidating through the trend line. Excuse me. So there may be some opportunity to continue trading towards yen weakness. Just a total side note, I don't really trade the pair much, so just to let you guys know that that's one thing to keep an eye on. Pound yen did a pretty good job. We had this was in the in the works for the last couple of days. We had a nice little breakout, and then it just kind of continued above this trend line right here. We can see that's a nice little trend line, and it gave us a nice continuation up, and it's above these highs. We'll see what the pound yen does. I'm not a big yen trader, so we'll see how those guys run. Aussie dollar, very choppy. I think this Aussie dollar is going to be kind of a sit and wait. One thing that could be semi-interesting is getting above these highs here, which is about 105.60, we'll call it, 105.60, and if the market gets above that, I think there might be a little bit of a run up. But as far as sells go, I'm just going to wait this one out and kind of see what it does and see where it goes. It's really having a heck of a time trying to make much of a movement here. And then gold, remember yesterday we talked about gold being kind of in that tricky zone, 1700 above or below, and gold ended up taking a big run down. But it's kind of finding support here as well. This is 1660s. 1660s have turned out to be a very strong area on gold, and we could end up seeing some big bounces there. If we get a breakout, that could be the start of a much larger run down here on gold. So we're going to keep our eye on that. So gold is really consolidating, choppy, but it's broken a major trend line, and I think we may have some continuation down through that. But like I said, I'm going to be looking for a sell opportunity, probably around 156.75 on the pound dollar, and we'll see where these things go. Euro has got some interesting opportunities as well there. So remember, between this 38 and 50, which is around 131.05 to 131.25, sell opportunities. Likewise on the break of this trend line, and watch the trend line on the pound dollar here as well for the break up and down, and we're going to be probably posting a pending order for 156.75 on the pound. Thanks a bunch, everyone. We'll see you in the chat. Best of luck.